remember how Bub and Nen, they were a real hard case couple to compose. And yeah, I remember that song being composed, and what Ngapo Wehi used to do, he used to have this guitar and he used his thumb. He
didn't have a forefinger.
Yeah, he used his thumb to play the chords.
And he would have the guitar over here.
That's how he would compose. And Nen would go, "Stop, Bub, do this," and he'd do it. And so that's how they compose their tunes, with this jolly guitar and the thumb.
In 1979, I would have been 26, 27. And so in those days, Ngapo and Pemia, they said jump and I said how high. What I loved about the whole thing was being able to actually sing because I loved singing. And that was the way she taught. Ngapo came in with all the tricky little bits. As we were singing, he would add this in and this in and this in, and my sisters would have to do those bits, and so I would do these other bits, and finally he would put the whole thing together. There was no top six in those days. It was either you were first or second or third. So it was one performance. But what happened is that Ngāti Pōneke didn't have a hall big enough to take the crowd, so you did your performance in this hall and then you went and repeated it in this hall for the public. So once we got over the restrictions that we had in the first performance, we were now ourselves and we could just let everything happen, and so we were 10 times louder, we were 10 times more energetic, and we were 10 times more emotional. And all of that drowned out the poor team that was on the stage doing their first performance to judges. And so I think they had to do their whole thing again. And I remember too that after that performance, we went back to where we stayed, and then the results just were read. And I remember us sitting in the park outside, and everybody was yelling and screaming, and we had, like, everybody in the hall was yelling and screaming. We couldn't get a seat in there. I suppose you can say that Ngapo and Pemia cut their teeth on us, you know, and then by the time they got to Auckland to Whakaihuwaka, they taught us about winning. They taught us to love winning.
That was some of the best times of my life in Kapahaka, was being taught by him and her.
Yeah.
He taught us how to win, he taught us how to lose.
He taught us how to be strategic.
And we were also told not to go stupid if you win something. Eh? And we learnt that. What did he say? He said, when you get down the road, when you get down the road, you can yahoo. He had a special way about him, but she was number one. She was the one.